last night, but lots of news right now going on with the New Orleans Saints, and these people right here cannot wait to talk about it. You see Ryan Clark already dancing, Marcus Spears there, and Mina Kimes, and we're going to have Field Yates as well with some more details on injuries and more. But let's get right to it, okay? Adam Schefter reporting that Taysom Hill will be the starting quarterback for the Saints over Jameis Winston. Of course, Drew Brees was injured last week. Now Hill, he's been a versatile piece of the offense, getting the reins against the Falcons Sunday. But then just moments ago, Sean Payton, the head coach of the Saints, was asked about this, says he's not naming a starter yet. Take a listen.
Who are we talking about?
Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I'm sorry too, because I haven't announced that either one of those two are starting.
So that was just leaked by someone else, I guess, today?
I didn't see today or what you're talking about. Someone has been named the starter, but we haven't announced it.
Okay, so that's the first time that they've heard the sound because it just came in. Mina, I'm looking at your face. Marcus, you're laughing. You go first. What do you think about all this now?
Me? I'm going first?
You're going first right now. Yes.
Okay, listen. I know the reports, and I'm not finna get into what the reports, all of that stuff. I know that this is smart by Sean Payton. This is a football tactic. I've said that. This is a football tactic. Now, for all intents and purposes, Schefter never gets it wrong. Very rarely does he ever get it wrong. So I expect Taysom Hill to be the starter. But with that being said, why would Sean Payton give the Atlanta Falcons any information about what they're going to do from an offensive standpoint? So he's playing coy. He's playing like he doesn't know. He said we named the starter, but no one knows. This is ultimate gameplay by Sean Payton, who, by the way, was the offensive coordinator when I first got to Dallas. This is what Sean Payton does, and this is not good for the Atlanta Falcons.
My only regret
don't be looking
is
at me like that.
This report. I cannot wait to get to Ryan, and I wish this news had broken during NFL Live because you would have seen Ryan's brain break in real time, and it would have just been absolutely incredible television. His eyes would have bugged out of his head. Okay, so the reason we're all surprised is not because of who Taysom Hill is, it's because of who he isn't, or rather who he wasn't last year, which was the Saints quarterback. Drew Brees didn't play for 6 games, and they went with Teddy over Taysom. Drew Brees went out with an injury last week, and they went with Jameis over Winston. That's why everybody is so surprised. Now, approaching this purely from a football perspective, Marcus is 100% right. This introduces an element of gamesmanship, of surprise. The Falcons are going to have to prepare for this, and also the possibility that it's all smoke and mirrors. I will say this, though. The Falcons do have a surprisingly decent run defense, and something I would be concerned about in this game if I'm New Orleans, other than, I guess, the question of whether Taysom Hill can play quarterback, which we really don't know, is the fact that Taysom Hill fumbled the ball 4 times last year, which by my math is almost as many times as he's completed passes in the NFL. So that's something I'd be concerned about as well.
Listen, I don't know nothing about no math, all right? Because there go Mina bringing up math. This is not a math situation. This is about reality. And the New Orleans Saints and the Taysom Hill saga, when the 30 for 30 comes out, whenever, it's going to be touching because they're going to talk about the injuries at BYU, being undrafted at 24, and then they're going to get into this reality show that's been him with the Saints, right? Because for a little bit, it was like punked. Remember, because you remember Punk, things would happen and it would be tricked. Sean Payton's been trying to trick us for a very long time. Sean Payton has been punking us for years, right? Steve Young, Steve Old, whatever you want to call him. Taysom is the next caller. He's going to be, he's going to be freaking Hall of Fame and all this, right? And then Taysom Hill, if he's going to start, he's obviously been catfishing us because somewhere in there is a real quarterback that he just hasn't shown. Right? So he's been playing the role of somebody else while he was always this other person because he's been playing the role of a dude that can't really throw the football. But obviously, if he's going to start, we're getting catfish, and Taysom Hill is way more than we saw. But then they switched all the way from MTV and went to more hard-hitting reality shows like First 48 because now somebody done read it. Because Taysom Hill is the quarterback, but what Sean Payton has said, one of y'all told. And if you watched First 48, which I know some of you do, they always tell. All this stuff about stop snitching, code of the street, how they was on Goodfellas, that is not right. They always rat. So Taysom Hill's going to start, and either he's been catfishing us, punking us, or something, or they going to run the ball 47 times and had to rush for 400 yards to win the game because Taysom Hill can't throw.
Yeah.
He's like Tebow if Tebow was faster and couldn't throw.
You know what? I do like the first 48. Let's get some numbers on this as well as a comparison. Looking at the tail of the tape, the Saints going with the far less experienced Taysom Hill. Although his career total QBR slightly better than Winston's, Jameis certainly has the edge when it comes to experience as a passer, ranking second in passing yards through a player's first 5 NFL seasons with only Peyton Manning ahead of him. The turnovers have been the issue. By the way, Sean Payton, by last check, was still talking. We got people in our production room. It's called a control room, whatever it's called. They're listening to it right now. So if anything else happens, we're going to bring it to you guys. But Mina, you mentioned the fact that the Falcons do have a good run defense.
Yeah.
If we do see
Surprisingly.
Taysom Hill as the starter, which Sean Payton still didn't want to tell us for sure, what do you think the Saints offense really does look like with him in there?
I think that it's obviously going to be very run heavy because what we have seen out of Taysom Hill in the preseason and then his very limited starts is that he has not been super accurate on the sort of underneath stuff that the Saints thrive in. So I imagine we're going to see him booting out a lot. There's going to be a lot of trickery. But I think Ryan perhaps inadvertently mentioned the key number, which is 30. You talked about a 30 for 30 being made about Taysom Hill. Well, Jameis Winston had 30 picks last year, and Taysom Hill is 30 years old. To me, the Saints had to decide which of these 30s is worse. The fact that we got a dude who turns the ball over that much, or a dude who's getting his first NFL start at 30, and they went with the 30-year-old, and we're going to see how it goes.
We're going to be all over this all show long, so don't worry about that. Let's bring Field Yates in for more. And sometimes, Field, when things don't make a whole lot of sense or they seem abnormal, the reasoning can always be traced back to money. Tell us why the contracts for both Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill could be factoring in here.
Well, Laura, one thing that I've always maintained is that the Saints actually love Taysom Hill more than the internet likes and loves Taysom Hill. We see it every Sunday when he's utilized in a small package when Drew Brees is the normal starting quarterback. Twitter loses its mind, but the Saints keep going back to the well. And you think back to this offseason when Shefty tweeted that the Saints had signed Taysom Hill to a 2-year contract. That part would be fine, except for the fact that it's worth $21 million. It was the latest sign that Sean Payton and the Saints believe very strongly in Taysom Hill. They ended up signing Jameis Winston for a base value of just $1.1 million. I'm not here to tell you that Taysom Hill is unquestionably going to be better than what Jameis Winston could be if given starting opportunities. But while this news was shocking when we first heard it today, it wasn't all that surprising.